Hey, what's up everybody? Hope you are doing great today. This is Said Hassan from Bixban, and today we are learning how to create this visual.
Hooray!
So, are you ready to learn new techniques and add a new artwork to your portfolio? If you are, see you after the intro. Hey guys, welcome back. If you want to download those assets to follow along, please check the links in the description. And the bonus for this video, you can join our Facebook group. Again, links in the description, and share your artwork and I will give you my feedback on your visual. So let's start. Welcome to the screen record. Let's start our visual by creating new document by hitting Ctrl+N. Now the width will be 10,080 pixels, the height will be the same, resolution will be 72 pixels per inch for anything that will be displayed on the screen, color mode will be RGB, and let's hit create. Now first of all, let's place our first element. Go to file from the top menu, choose place embedded, choose the picture of the shoe. Okay, place it however you want. You can scale it up or down by holding Alt and choose any corner, click and drag. Now you can scale it up or down from the center. Let's hit enter to confirm. Ctrl+0 to make the visual take the full view. Okay, let's hit Ctrl+T to transform. Now let's rotate it a bit. I think this position is good as a start and we are going to change it along the way. Let's hit enter to confirm. Second will be to hit U for the shape tool or click this icon here. Make sure you are on the rectangle tool. Now let's create any rectangle for now, and we are going to change the setting along the way. We are going to change the setting from the appearance panel here from the properties. If you can't find any panel, you can find it under Windows from the top menu here, and you can go to properties. Now from the appearances here, we are going to change the setting for the rectangle. First we need to position the rectangle in a good place. Now let's hit Ctrl+T to transform, rotate it in a good position. Okay, now let's hit enter as a start. Okay, now here from the appearance panel, from the corner radius, make sure all corner radius are linked here by clicking this icon here, and let's make it full round. Yes, now let's scale the rectangle. Ctrl+T for transform, scale it up. Yes, again scale it up more. Yes, I think this is a good position. Maybe scale it up a bit. I think this is good. Let's hit enter to confirm. Okay, now the corners are not perfectly rounded, so we are going to decrease the roundness of the corner to make it fully as a half circle. Let's hit enter to confirm. Now let's move the layer of the rectangle below the layer of the shoes. Yes, I think we are going in the right direction. At this point I think the shoe is a little bit smaller, so let's make it bigger. First of all, choose the layer of the shoe, hit Ctrl+T for transform. Let's make it bigger like this. I think this is good, and let's rotate it a bit to match the angle of the shape. Okay, I think this is good. Let's hit enter to confirm. Now we need to change the background color of the shape to match a little bit the colors of the shoe. Go to the swatches panel. If you can't find it, again you can find it from the window from the top menu here, and you can search it for S swatches right here. Okay, choose this color, and the color will be on the screen if you want to copy the hex code of the colors. By positioning the shoe and the shape behind it in a diagonal direction, we are adding some movement and dynamism to the composition. What is the next step? The next step will be duplicating the shape in the background across the visual. First of all, choose the rectangle layer, hold Alt, click and drag. Now it is duplicated. You can position it however you like, but I think this is good as a start. A quick note, I just want to say guys, thank you for all the support, and if you are new here, this channel is dedicated for junior and midweight designers who are looking for to level up their skill set and learn new professional technique. So make sure to hit the like button and subscribe to the channel to keep up with all the new content. Let's get back. Now let's change the color of the new shape. Again, go to the swatches panel and let's choose the other color, and again the colors will be on the screen if you want to copy the hex code of the new color. Now let's duplicate this layer again by holding Alt, click and drag and choose another position here. Make sure there is a little bit of a room in this area because we are going to add some text here, and after all we can change its position along the way. Now guys, what is the next step? The next step will be adding shadows to the shoe. We are going to add two types of shadows. First of all, the contact shadow. How we can add it? Simply, first of all, choose the layer of the shoe, hold Ctrl and click this plus icon to create new layer below the layer of the shoe. Hit B for the brush tool, right click, make sure the hardness is about 75%, and hold Alt to get this eyedropper tool. Click once. Now let's double click on the foreground color. Let's choose a little bit darker and desaturated color and hit OK. Now let's make sure the opacity is 100%, the flow is 100%. Let's make the brush a little bit bigger by holding Alt and right mouse button, and let's give it one stroke. Ctrl plus T for transform. Hold shift and choose this middle corner, click and drag. Now we are scaling it down. Let's scale it down. Okay, let's hit enter to confirm. Let's zoom in a bit. Okay, let's position it under the shoe. I think this is good. For a contact shadow, maybe a little bit smaller. Hit enter to confirm. Now guys, we are going to add the second type of shadows. Let's create new empty layer. Let's hit this plus icon here, B for the brush tool again, right click, make sure the brush is a little bit bigger by holding Alt and right mouse button, scale it up a little bit, hit one click. Now we have one stroke. Let's hit Ctrl plus T for the transform, right click, choose perspective here from the menu, choose any of the corner, click and drag. Now we are making this layer in a perspective. Let's hit enter to confirm. Ctrl plus T again to make it a little bit smaller. Choose any of the corners here, hold shift, choose the middle corner, click and drag. Yes, and we are going in the right direction. Position it however you want. Hold shift, choose this middle corner, click and drag to make it a little bit bigger. You can change the scale however you want. I think this is good as a start. Let's hit enter to confirm. Let's just choose the two layers here. Choose the first layer, hold Ctrl and click on the second layer. Both are chosen now. Let's change the blending mode to multiply. Let's reduce the opacity a bit. Okay, I think this is a little bit good. Now the contact shadow layer is a little bit harsh, so let's reduce it a bit. Okay, I think this is good as a start. Let's hit enter to confirm. Let's group all those three layers. Choose the first layer, which is the shoe layer, hold shift and choose the third layer, and all three layers now are chosen. Hit Ctrl plus G to group the layers. Okay, when creating shadows in Photoshop, make sure to have at least two types of shadows. The first will be the contact shadows, which is harsh and dark. The second will be the casted shadows, which is lighter, softer, and affected by the light source in your composition. We are going to add some shadows here along the way to blend it better with these shadows. What is the next step, guys? The next step will be adding details to this shape in the background. Let's start by creating new empty layer. From this plus icon here, let's hold Alt to get this eyedropper tool, click once so we can have the color of the shape in the foreground color here. Okay, now let's make it a little bit lighter like this and a little bit saturation, and maybe change the hue a little bit. Hit enter to confirm. Now let's make sure the hardness is 0%. The opacity, let's make it 10 this time. Okay, the flow is 100%. Let's make the brush a little bit bigger and let's start giving some strokes. Now we want to make sure the strokes we are going to add will be clipped to the shape here. So we want to create a clipping mask for this layer. How we can do this? By holding Alt and hover over between the two layers and click. Okay guys, now let's add some strokes. Okay, now guys, I think we are going in the right direction. We have some change in color between here in the front and here in the back, but it's not a little bit obvious. Now we want to add shadows or some darker colors here in the back. Let's create new layer. Again, we want to create a clipping mask. So hold Alt, hover over between the two layers and click. Hold Alt to get this eyedropper tool. Again, choose the color of the shape, double click on the foreground. Let's make it a little bit darker and change the hue this time in the other direction. Okay, let's hit enter to confirm. Make sure the opacity is 10% and let's add some dark colors. Now we have guys, the shift in the color is a little bit more obvious and we added some dimensionality to this shape. Okay, let's see before and after. Yes, this is before and this is after. Okay, by changing the hues of the lights and the dark in your composition, we are making the visual more dynamic and interesting. So let's continue. Now guys, what is the next step? We are going to blend the shadows of the shoe with this step of the shoe. How we can do this guys? First of all, we need to choose the layer of the shoe. And how we can choose this layer? The most professional technique to choose a layer in Photoshop is by pressing V for the move tool here. Make sure this auto select is unchecked. Hold Ctrl and click on the layer you want to be chosen and it is chosen automatically from the layer panel. Let's expand this a little bit. Okay guys, let's create new empty layer above the shoe layer. Let's create a clipping mask. Hold Alt, hover over between two layers, click once. B for the brush tool, make the brush smaller by holding Alt right mouse button. Okay, this is a good size. Okay, now guys, we want to add some color here. We are going to choose this bottom area color. Hold Alt to get this eyedropper tool and click once. Now we have this color in the foreground color. Okay, let's make it a little bit smaller and change the blending mode to multiply, the opacity 10%, and let's start giving it some strokes. Yes, making the bottom of the shoe a little bit darker will help to blend the shoe with the background and shadows. Let's hit Ctrl+0 to view the 100%. Okay, now let's see before and after. Yes, I think it is a little bit better and we are going in the right direction guys. Now let's add the text at the corner here and at the down here. I'm going to speed it up this guys for you and I will be back. When choosing a typeface for this visual, make sure it is bold, italic, with hard corner, not rounded, to match the dynamic and sporty feeling of this artwork. Welcome back guys, we added some text here, but the positioning is not well for the overall visual. We are going to change the position of some elements here in the visual, so see you after. Welcome back, guys. We changed some position of some elements, and the main big change here, we moved those two elements, the shape in the background and the shoe, a little bit down so we can have a room for the text at the top left corner. Now guys, next step will be adding some details to the main text. First of all, I added a small text here if you want to add some details about the product you are trying to sell. Okay, first of all, choose the perfect pair text here. We want to change its color to the color of the shape in the background. We have it already here. Now it is changed. We are going to add some details, lights and so on. Let's create new empty layer. Let's make a clipping mask by holding Alt, click between the two layers, G for the gradient tool, double click here and make sure the foreground and background color are black and white. If they are not black and white, you can here from the presets go to basics and choose black and white and hit OK. Now let's choose the perfect pair text layer, hold Ctrl and click on the T icon here. What we have done, we have loaded the layer as a selection, and this is a very useful technique and we are going to use it along the way this visual. Let's hit Ctrl+0 to view the full visual, G for the gradient tool. Okay, choose the new empty layer, click and drag. Let's change the blending mode to soft light, hit Ctrl+D to deselect. Now we have added some effects to the text layer. Let's see before and after. Yes, it is a little bit dynamic and better. Now I think the color of this text layer is good. When working with fonts, try to stick to one typeface with different weights, especially if you are a beginner. But once you have a better understanding to match and pair font, now you have the creative freedom to work with the fonts however you want. And maybe let's make it a little bit desaturated. Let's make it full gray and it is okay. Now guys, we are going to add some text details here and there and see you after. Welcome back guys. I added some text detail at the corners here. You can use this area to add like phone and website and logo of your company, and this if you want to add some other details like coupon codes or something like that. Try to have a better distribution for the elements in your design. This will help make your visual more balanced. Okay, next and last step will be adding this frame. Now guys, we are going to use some technique we used earlier. First of all, let's hit U for the shape tool and make sure you are on the rectangle tool. Let's hit one click. This create rectangle panel will open. Let's make sure the width is 1080, the height is the same. Okay, let's hit click from the center. Okay, now let's position it to be perfectly centered in the canvas. Let's hit enter to confirm. Now let's change the color. Double click here and change the color to white. Change the blending mode to soft light. Yes, and we are going in the right direction, but we need this effect to be only on the edges here. We need to mask the area at the center. How we can do this? Let's duplicate this layer by holding Ctrl+J, not G. Okay guys, now let's hit Ctrl+T to transform. Let's hold Alt, click and drag to make it a little bit smaller. Now guys, you have the creative freedom to choose the space of the edges here, however you want, big or small. Okay, I think this position is good. Let's hit enter to confirm. Now guys, at the radius of the corner here, let's make it rounded. I think 35 is a good value here. Now we want to mask this area here, the second rectangle from the original rectangle. How we can do this? Let's hold Control, click again on the rectangle. Now we have the rectangle as a selection here. Okay, let's choose the first rectangle layer and let's hit this mask icon. Okay guys, we have the mask but we have it inverted. How we can invert this mask? By holding Ctrl plus I. Yes, it is inverted and this layer we don't need it anymore. And now guys, we have the effect we wanted to do. Okay, now guys, if you are a beginner this might sound a little bit hard, so let's make a little bit a quick recap. Okay guys, we added this rectangle at full size. Okay, then we duplicated the rectangle and made it a little bit smaller and make the corner radius at 35. Okay, and we loaded this rectangle as a selection by holding Ctrl and clicking on this icon here, and get back to the original layer and clicking the mask here, and we inverted the mask by hitting Ctrl plus I. Now guys, that was our last step. We have completed our visual. That's it for today guys. If you want to learn more, I made a playlist for similar tutorials. If you want to get it, please click the info card that is appearing on your top of your screen right now. And if you like this type of content, please hit the like button and subscribe to the channel. See you in the next tutorial.